Sorry for that, cutting you short. I want to commend my colleague, Mary Siri Carney, for putting forward this motion, her hard work and her commitment in this area and her empathy for young people. And I suppose I feel it too. I feel it for my own children and who are 6 and 8 now, but there's a massive amount of mother's guilt for when we're both working full time and they were knocking around the house by themselves. And they've grown up in a lot of ways over the last year, but in other ways they also have remained very innocent. But it's been a really hard year for them. Not every kid that hangs around a street corner is a hooligan, and I fear that we're heading in that direction at the moment because of a lack of things to do. I was one of those kids that hung around the street corner when I had nothing to do, and I don't think I turned into a hooligan. But we have to find a way that we can safeguard them and protect them from antisocial behaviour, both getting into it and being victims of it, but also and ensuring that they enjoy their summer, but also where we have policing where necessary too. And I do welcome the youth justice strategy that was announced. It's gone down very well locally. I wrote to your department last week. We do need a plan for the summer holidays for our youth minister, and you invested in a capital fund in August of last year to the tune of 2 million to prepare the likes of Oireachtas to work online and to support youth services. And they did an incredible job when they brought everything online and still managed to help vulnerable children. But now I think we need to see more additional funding for this summer, because at the moment the youth clubs are working in groups of 15 outside and they're hanging around in places like car parks. And I do think that we could invest with universal services this summer, but also in premises. And I wonder if places like Blanchardstown Shopping Centre would be a good place to have somewhere where kids can meet when the schools shut. 2021 will see funding of 67 million, and that is an increase of 8%, but some areas are still falling behind in universal services. And I know you know this, areas like Ongar and Tyrrellstown and Carpenterstown. I'm setting up or helping Oireachtas to set up a youth club in Luttradstown at the moment, but that's funds being diverted from elsewhere. So it would be great to see more universal services. I especially want to acknowledge the parents of children who go to special schools and how much I regret we couldn't open them sooner for them. I sincerely hope the July provision will deliver, and central to that is that schools that haven't opened under July provision will open this year, and that's something that we'll have to watch. But one of the areas we absolutely have to deliver is the disability services and our child and adolescent mental health services. The problem was acute before COVID, but now they are seeing numbers on the ground that they've never experienced. So psychologist staffing levels are a major issue, and yet there's obvious barriers to getting them on the front line. One of them is the inequitable funding for trainee doctorates. So if you study as a clinical psychologist in the doctorate, you'll get a salary of 33,000 for your placement, and you'll get 60% of your funding, whereas if you go down the route of counselling and education, you'll pay 15,000 a year, and that's for 3 years, and you don't get paid for your work placement. And they put hundreds of hours into their placements, and also that's on the back of about 10 years of studying. So that I really do think that's something we're putting their welfare behind the welfare of everybody else, and I think a healthy system would actually look after everyone. But that's just one of the barriers that I have. There aren't enough doctorate places. We have to look at the role of assistant psychologists and make sure that they are funded. We have to look at the new therapy posts, and there were 100 in 2020 and 100 in 2021. How many of them are child psychology psychologists, and there are others, but that's just at the tip of the iceberg for how we can look at the entire system about getting children access to educational psychologists.